A senior United States Special Forces officer was found dead on 31st August in Westin Hotel in Dhaka under mysterious circumstances. The deceased, identified as Terence Arville Jackson, was 50 years old and had first arrived in Dhaka in April this year, according to Dhaka police. After arriving in Dhaka, he had traveled to different parts of the country for quote unquote work related to his government, as per Dhaka police. The Dhaka police had maintained that he was in the country for quote unquote business. But his presence in the country is being seen as a part of classified assignments. Viewers must be made aware that before the start of the Vietnam War, many such covert operations were carried out by America. Like the Operation Saigon military mission was launched on 1st June 1954 to conduct psychological warfare and paramilitary activities in South Vietnam. Later, Operation Farmgate and Operation Misty program were used for intelligence gathering and disruption of North Vietnamese supply lines before the start of the actual war. Multiple sources in Bangladesh have revealed that Jackson's presence in Bangladesh involved imparting military training to Bangladeshi army officers at undisclosed locations. But the question remains, if he was training the Bangladeshi army, then why the need for so much secrecy? Dhaka police had earlier said that Jackson had checked into the Westin hotel on 29th August at 3 pm. However, hotel and security officials told news reporters that the booking was made by a US embassy official and that Jackson had checked in on 27th August and not on 29th August. Records confirmed by two separate sources showed that he had dined at the hotel restaurant on August 28 and went out briefly on August 29. He did not go out at all on August 30 or 31 when his body was discovered. Jackson was found lying naked in his bed inside room number 808 on the afternoon of August 31st. Housekeeping staff at the hotel discovered the body, causing panic among the hotel employees. Senior staff advised colleagues to avoid discussing the matter and to ignore calls from the media. Around 12:30 pm on the same day, three US embassy officials, including a woman, reached the hotel and instructed the staff not to speak to anyone about the incident. Embassy personnel cordoned off Jackson's room with blue and yellow tapes, brought in their own security and medical staff, and removed his body at around 6:30 pm, along with several suitcases and personal belongings. Now, this begs the question, which sovereign country allows the embassy staff of any other country to take control of a crime scene? And what was there in the suitcases which were secretly removed from Jackson's room? The US Embassy did not give any official statement when questioned by the media. The conflicting claims did not stop even after that. Jackson's LinkedIn profile had shown that he had served more than 20 years in the US Army with multiple deployments across Asia and listed his current role as Special Forces Officer or 18A. However, following the report, a spokesperson from the 1st Special Forces Command emailed on September 1st to deny the claim, stating that individual in question was alive and in the US. Later on, US Army Special Operations Command's Public Affairs Officer issued a formal statement, and I quote, "All currently serving personnel who are assigned to the US Army Special Operations Command are accounted for and present. We have no ongoing operations in Dhaka and therefore do not have any authority to comment on the reported death. We would defer your request for details and virtual conference to the US Embassy in Dhaka." End quote. Curiously, Jackson's LinkedIn profile was altered shortly after the initial report, with sensitive details about his current military role deleted. However, contrary to the official statement, Bangladeshi sources have confirmed that US Special Forces officers had been in the country for several months. One Westin staff member recalled seeing 5 to 6 US officers in uniform at the hotel lobby a week before Jackson's death. While Dhaka police maintained that Jackson was a businessman, evidence points to other directions. Photographs reportedly depict him conducting training sessions with Bangladeshi army personnel while wearing Nine Line apparel, a clothing brand founded by a former US Special Forces officer. Some of the American soldiers were linked to the elite 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment known as the Night Stalkers. The mystery deepens further with reports that at least one other US Special Forces officer remains in Bangladesh engaged in similar activities. Despite the denials from Washington, multiple sources are available, and evidence points to Jackson as an active US Special Forces airborne officer whose mission in Bangladesh was classified. Now the question begs, what the United States is trying to do in Bangladesh. I feel that there are three possible objectives that the US might be trying to achieve. Possibility 1 is that a lot of love has been lost between United States and India after India possibly hit some US assets in Pakistan during the Operation Sindoor, and now US wants to get back at India by destabilizing India's northeastern states. Possibility 2 is that US wants to block China's access to Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean through Myanmar by controlling the Myanmar government. Remember that China is at a disadvantage as it does not have direct access to Indian Ocean territory but can get that access via Myanmar. But if that access is blocked and the Malacca Strait is also blocked in a possible future conflict, then China will suffer greatly to carry on trade. And possibility 3 is that USA wants to target both India and China and possibly drive a wedge between the two countries, making sure that the two countries don't come together to challenge US hegemony. Whatever the objectives of the US are, it will be interesting to see how India and China respond to the US presence in Bangladesh, how the Bangladeshi people and the army see this trampling on their sovereignty by the United States, and how the different pieces will move on this chessboard. Let us know your views on this development in comments.